And we're back. Welcome back to Forza Naples. I know we've had a couple weeks off here. We've had some personal stuff get in the way between travel, vacations, moving, whole lot of stuff going on here between the two of us. So we do apologize. We haven't been back since a Greenville FC Naples recap back in early June. But we're back now, and FC Naples has kind of struggled since we've last put out a pod. Paul, I think we might be to blame for that.
Yeah, I think we owe Coach Poland, the ownership group, the players, and most importantly, our fans, an apology for being gone for a couple weeks. But we're back now, and hopefully brighter days ahead. I know we said that coming into June, but um, a lot to look forward to. A long season still left to be played, and the Jägermeister Cup Friday.
Yeah, lots to look forward to on the horizon. Definitely getting excited. But let's pick up recapping where we left off. We'll be kind of brief with this because it seems like it was so long ago now. FC Naples 2, Chattanooga Red Wolves 2. Overall, I thought it was a great first half from us, other than two kind of defensive lapses right after we scored both of our goals early on. 2-2, Justin Weiss getting on the score sheet in his debut as a starter with FC Naples. So that was really exciting to see the Hoosier scoring two goals with a brace. But two kind of defensive lapses at the back, leaving guys open in the box, led to Chattanooga responding right away to make that 2-2 going into the first half. Again, Paul, two late goals given up in the last 10 minutes of the first half. We were at this game. What did you take away from that one?
Yeah, so we thought we were going to see fireworks, and I thought both teams were very disciplined. So that was good. Good to see that the boys didn't get up to the antics. I know the beer garden did some heckling, and both times the Red Wolves made us pay for our taunts. We got to clean up the end of half defensive side. Not playing. I don't know if we're sitting back too much or what the deal is. Um, but I think one of the goals came off of a set piece, maybe both of them. Um, Overall, kind of a disappointing result. I think we both were anticipating 3 points there. I think that we're better. I still think we're better than them, but obviously the score lines haven't shown that. Um, so yeah, disappointed kind of in the 2-2 draw there.
Yeah, this was kind of the first time we've seen, at least recently, this three at the back playing this kind of strange. It was almost like a 3-1-4-2 formation. Seemed to kind of work on the counterattack, but yeah, like we've said, with just Dangler, Evans, and Fernandez back there. We left a couple guys open, and I think the midfield kind of struggled to get back in that formation at first, and I think we struggled to utilize the central midfield in that game, getting forward as well. But yeah, overall, I thought that was probably our best performance out of these last three games that we're going to recap today. It's just cleaning that stuff up at the back. You can't let Chattanooga serve balls into the box. They've proven that they can punish teams all season with that. So now we'll move on to a week and a half later. We had the pleasure of traveling to Statesboro, Georgia, home of South Georgia Tormenta, where we fell 2-1. Jaden Onen getting on the score sheet with a penalty in the 37th minute. I'm still not sure how the keeper wasn't sent off for denying obvious goal scoring opportunity. Just completely trips us up, and no intent to play the ball. Just it was almost like a full on American football tackle there to bring him down in the box. Easy penalty. I think keeper's got to be sent off there. Nonetheless, Jaden Onen steps up, converts like he so often does, makes it 1-1, and then another late goal given up, 44th minute. It went down as a Dangler own goal, but I thought it was a great ball played into the box, into a dangerous area, and we just couldn't handle it. Um, Before we did have Julian Cisneros get sent off for what seemed to be a hair pull in the 72nd minute. And then Neil Reed Stevens against 10 men for South Georgia Fomenta buries one to make it 2-1 late on 81st minute. And then we never really looked like we would be able to come back from that after that. What did you make of this one?
Yeah, so this one I didn't get to see the first half. I was tracking it and then watching the second half. Don't have much commentary on the actual gameplay because it was so long ago. Hard to remember specifics. But one of those things, you're looking at a bottom of the table team. I know you're on the road, but that's one that when you're kind of in a slide, you're hoping to at least get a point. And I think had we done a pod for a a look ahead to that game, I think we both would have picked us to win and walk away with 3 points. I think we would have settled for one, but certainly a game that you're looking on the card that needed to result in at least a point and probably should have been three. At the time, I think we were second or third in the table going against a team that was in the bottom three. Uh, hard to swallow not getting anything out of that, especially in a month that was, um, you know, a month to forget.
Yeah, not a great overall performance. I know it was super hot, a heat index well above 100. They took two water breaks per half, and then kind of another strange formation from us, almost a 4-1-4-1 it seemed, which then in practice was more like I couldn't tell where O'Connor was really sitting, if he was supposed to be on the same line as Heckenberger playing up in front of him, or if we were kind of playing five across the midfield. Kind of strange formation. I guess now is the time you want to test this stuff out, especially coming after off of a 2-2 draw. But it didn't really seem to work for me. We never really seemed in that match, so to say. Just overall, it seemed to be a struggle. I did do some research though while watching this game because it appeared like the South Georgia Tormenta Field was just a big construction site behind a Publix. So it got me curious how close each team's stadium was to a Publix, and obviously this will be a little southeastern bias, but where do you think FC Naples would rank on this list?
Yeah, so before you said that their stadium was in the parking lot of a Publix, um, I would have had us at one, just Publix being a Florida known supermarket, where shopping is a pleasure, sponsorship pending. I would have put them at one. Now I'm feeling this is a trick question, so I'm gonna go with three.
Yeah, we're actually sixth, surprisingly.
Wow. I mean, I know that there's a couple in Tennessee. Um, but yeah, let's hear this list. Let's see what you got starting at 14 for the bottom half. I'm gonna assume that the West Coast teams are all there in the bottom.
Yeah, so Spokane came in last. Then we go to Lancaster with AV Alta, then Union Omaha, then Texoma, Portland Hearts of Pine, Ford Madison, Westchester SC. Obviously, no Publix is anywhere near them. Then Chattanooga Red Wolves 10 miles away, 10.8 miles away. Us at 4.4 miles away being the closest Publix, even though I passed three on my 20-minute drive to the stadium. Um, then we go to one Knoxville. They were close at 3.7. Then Richmond, Virginia, actually 3.4. Then we go to Charlotte, and I used American Legion Memorial Stadium. I know they've played in a couple different stadiums here. They were three. Then we go to Greenville at Paladin Stadium, 1.2 miles. And then South Georgia Tormenta, where it's like a 2-minute walk. zero point 0.2 miles is the listed, but I think you can get there a lot quicker.
Wow. Yeah, I guess I didn't know that Publix ran all the way that far north. I didn't know that there were any in Virginia. So good for the people in Virginia that they get the best supermarket in the country.
I know, right? Lucky them. Very interested to see how close all those Publixes were to other stadiums when I thought we would be, second on the list.
Yeah, I'm surprised by the 4.7 mile distance. I guess Publix is just waiting to expand into South Naples. Yeah, I would have taken I would have if you would have put it at 3 miles, I would have taken the under.
Right, same. I mean, like I said, I think I passed three on my drive to the stadium, which is 20 minutes from my house, um, which is pretty crazy. But I think that was my biggest analysis coming out of that game. Just not a great performance from us overall. So I decided to rank Publix's instead. So then that takes us into this past Saturday night. Some USL League One after dark for us with the 11 p.m. kickoff our time. A 4-1 loss. First half I thought was pretty evenly matched. They got on the score sheet around 26 minutes in. We thankfully didn't give up a late goal again in that first half, so it stayed 1-0. Then we come out, Mark Torres with his first goal of the season in the 48th minute. And I'm thinking, all right, here we go. But then it seemed like a couple defensive lapses at the back. I think Delgado wants their third goal back for sure. Just an unfortunate bounce it seemed to take to beat him near post. But Eduardo Blancas decided he would score a hat trick with goals coming in the 60th, 74th, and 87th minute to finish 4-1. What did you take out of this one?
Yeah, so first thing I have for this one is I think the scoreline flattered them more than what this game was. I think that third goal, I think what you said in the 72nd minute, um, that was one that it looked like the defense came up too high, kind of like what you would expect when you're down a goal late in the late 80s, early 90s. So I thought that we were gambling a little too early, with 18 plus stoppage time left. A lot of time to get that equalizer. I don't think you need to be super aggressive there. Um, and I think that fourth goal was an incredible shot from a set piece from 24 yards out. Great goal. Good on him for getting the hat trick, which would make me wonder what the latest somebody has scored their first goal and still gotten a hat trick. So his first goal came in the 60th. It's got to be one of the later three-goal performances. But I thought we had chances. That we had a lot of great balls into the box and just couldn't finish. They had one in the first half that they cleared off the line, should have been a goal, and one of their center backs just got in the way and cleared it. Should have been an easy goal. Then there were one or two other times where I thought the ball should have been in the back of the net and we just couldn't capitalize. So I think you're right. I thought the first half looked equal, and honestly, for most of the game, it felt equal in hindsight. If you're just somebody that looks at the box score, I don't think that's a fair reflection of what the game felt like. Even when we were down 2-1, I thought that we were going to get that equalizer, and it just never came. You gamble, give up the third goal. Now you're down too late, and hope kind of felt lost at that point.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that formation from the start. It kind of I couldn't tell if it was a 3-2-3-2 or a 3-5-2. But the three at the back against a team like AV Alta that loves to dominate the possession and kind of take on attacks was not really a fan of. And I think we kind of struggled, and the midfield was almost non-existent that game. They knew we were going to counterattack with Farine and Onan. They kind of took them out of the picture. And then it also seemed like they knew how big a threat Henderlong was, and they pretty much double teamed him the whole game, which I think is how the goal, our lone goal, was scored. Was two people committed to Henderlong. One of them won the tackle, and the ball just kind of fell to Mark Torres there, who was able to bury it, thankfully. But it seemed to be a bit of a struggle in that formation with going three at the back against a team like AV Alta.
Yeah, and it seemed, it might have been the second goal. It seems like they're almost running a zone defense in the back and not picking up guys. So guys are finding space. And I think that this is where the scouting report starts to come in, and teams that know how we play know the areas that they can capitalize on. And every time recently that teams have been scoring against us, it looks like we've got multiple guys looking at each other saying who was supposed to stop that. Um, Really the first showings that our back line could be cracked, and it's been going on for a couple games now. Um, so I think that that's something that needs to be talked about on the training ground of how we're going to not just let teams do what they want in our own box. It doesn't seem like we have um, that kind of figured out right now. And Delgado made a lot of great saves. So the scoreline realistically could have even been worse. I know he's wants the one goal back, but he did make a couple good saves. Um, and I think not being able to play the ball through the midfield and have those buildups is going to hurt. Teams know we want to send it long, and they're doubling. And, there's only so many times you can throw the ball in the double coverage before you end up with a pick. And that just isn't seeming to work right now.
Yeah, was not great. I'll be honest, I fell asleep around the 65th minute because it was pretty late. And then I woke up around 4 a.m. to just the ESPN Plus music of your event has ended. But I was able to rewatch the end of the game there on ESPN Plus via the replay. But yeah, I think our defense was so good to start like those first 9, 10 games was so good with Dangler and Evans holding the middle and then Cisneros and Glasser on either side of them. It just seemed to be really solid and work, and I'm not sure what has happened recently with these games where we seem to be, not picking up guys in the box, especially off of set pieces and just crosses coming in. I'd put Dangler and Evans up against anyone in the league to win a 50-50 off a header, but they've got to be able to go and get it, and it seems like we're picking up the wrong man at times. And I don't know if that's the midfield not dropping back to fully support them or if they're getting caught out. Like I think that the second and third goals seem to be where our midfield like you said, we committed to too many guys forward and couldn't get back in time. So it'll be curious now to see how we line up with a championship side coming to town and a rival coming to town with the Tampa Bay Rowdies on Friday.
Yeah, I think that, you know, we said this last month. We're going to say it again now. Time to turn the page. We're back in the Jägermeister Cup, and we're very much alive in that. We got bounced in the third round of the U.S. Open Cup in 10 rounds of penalties. So I'm hoping that we learned from that game, and really that's one we probably should have won in regulation. We had a great chance in the 93rd minute. So Tampa's coming into town. They're looking better than they did when we played the first time. We're looking worse than when we did the first time, but no better time to bounce back than against your I-75 rival.
Yeah, the Rowdies actually had a pretty mixed month of June. They lost to Louisville City 2-1. Again, not much happening there in the second half for them. But Louisville City seems to be pretty good up in the championship. I think they currently sit first overall. They've only lost once this season. Then they beat Miami FC 2-1, lost to Pittsburgh Riverhounds 2-1, and Pittsburgh currently sitting sixth in the league. But then they're coming off of a win last Wednesday against Indy 11 3-1. So they've kind of found a little bit of form, if you want to call it that, here recently, coming into this match. But going to be curious. Friday night, a little bit shorter, a lot shorter rest for us compared to the Rowdies. Um, will that play a factor, especially with the cross country flight coming in, as well as playing a game last Wednesday and 109 heat index or whatever it was? So looking forward to that one. Is there anything in particular you're looking forward to seeing in this game against the Rowdies back in the Jägermeister Cup?
Yeah, I think for one, it'll be nice to have kind of everybody back, and I think that that's something to take into account when we've had a lot of discipline issues over the last few games and guys being suspended. Um, having our best 11 out there that have played a lot of games together. We're back at home where we seem to do much better, and kind of seeing what changes Poland's going to make, and see if the overall strategy and game plan is a little different, and if they are going to try to build up through the middle. We're playing a championship side, so I think those long balls are even going to be less likely to be successful, and kind of modeling our play style after some of these South American teams that I'm seeing in the Club World Cup, where all your passes are going forward and waiting for the defense to collapse on our midfield before we kick it out, slightly forward, more lateral to our wing guys and Farin and Onan, and letting them play through space that way rather than trying to play it from the back into space. I think will lead to a higher probability of us being able to finish in the box.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think we need to kind of get back to what's had worked so well for us over the first month and a half of the season. And I think now is kind of the time to do it with two back-to-back home games compared to being on the road as much as we have been the past couple months. Our home form has been so good. We've lost one game and it was off of a penalty against one Knoxville. Everything else, we've picked up at least a point in every single home match. So hopefully this will be the start of something with back-to-back home games now with the Rowdies on Friday and then Westchester SC coming to town, another expansion team the following Saturday. Hopefully this means we can start bouncing back and just get back to our winning ways like we saw at the start of the season. The good thing about this game, though, and with the Jägermeister Cup, other than getting to break out the shots of Jägermeister again, is we pretty much still control our destiny despite being fifth out of six teams right now. We're currently sitting on 3 points. A win against if we win our last two games against the Rowdies in Greenville, we'll be in. There's not much anyone else can do about it. Because Miami is currently sitting on 5 points. You've got the Rowdies in South Georgia on 4 points. If we beat the Rowdies this Friday, we'll go up to 6 points, either ahead of Greenville on goal difference or even with Greenville, or a goal behind Greenville, I guess we could be on goal difference. But then our last game is against Greenville. So we beat them. We're into the knockout stages there, which would be awesome to see in this club's first year ever playing in this tournament and first year ever as a team to advance to a knockout stage with USL championship sides. Really exciting about that.
Yeah, I think that that's something, to take the positives. And we come into this game controlling our own destiny. It gets a little trickier with a draw. Even if we get the penalty shootout extra point, the path becomes a little trickier. Um, but if we win out, that makes the last match for us in the Jägermeister Cup very interesting, and kind of that rare win and go on or lose and go home in a group stage game. Looking at the rest of the Jägermeister standings, I don't believe that Naples is going to be in play for a wild card spot. Other things could happen that this group could, but Naples doesn't really have a path looking at it now without winning the group. And luckily, we get the opportunity against a familiar opponent, and then against another League One side, not having to beat a championship side to move on. And we did beat the Battery already, who's a championship side, so optimistic that Friday will lead to a positive result and give us something to celebrate.
Yeah, the Battery you mentioned, we beat them. They're currently sitting second in the USL Championship on 31 points. So they're one of the better teams in the championship. So we've proven we can go toe to toe with these guys. I think now we just have to prove it again against the Rowdies and then prove it against Greenville. And we'll be advancing and we'll get to keep doing some shots of Jägermeister, which how exciting is that for Friday?
Very exciting. Yeah, and one thing that's going to be key for us is striking early. And, it sounds obvious, right? Like you want to score goals early. Um, but I think that Tampa really dominated us late. And I think with our tired legs, and them having a little more depth on their bench than we do, uh, I like our odds a lot better, trying to get one or two in the first half. And even when we get that first goal, not being satisfied and staying hungry, obviously you can play back a little bit more, which I think plays into our strong suit of counterattack. Um, so, I don't think it's too far to say whoever scores first in this one is probably going to be the one that walks away with 3 points.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think we've got to get ahead early, um, and then just kind of then we can keep playing our, low block style and hitting them on the counterattack, knowing any mistake in the midfield or they make coming forward, we'll be able to pounce on and go from there. Everything okay there? I think you've got the storm of the century going on behind you. I'm not sure if our listeners at home can hear that, but sounds like a typical afternoon thunderstorm there.
Yeah, it is gnarly. I'm glad I got home from work before this started to come down. And just a little precursor to what we could see Friday. The weather report is calling for rain uh, Friday, so um, hopefully,
Yeah.
it's a precursor to what we could see Friday. What type of environment are you expecting from the club and the fans on our nation's birthday?
Yeah, I'm hoping it's an all-out a party in the USA. So to quote Miley Cyrus there, um, hoping to see another big crowd come out support the team. It should be something fun to do on the fourth. Gonna be hot and sticky, but that's when the best soccer's played, in my opinion. Hot and sticky, and let's go out. Let's drink some beers. Let's have some hot dogs, and let's cheer on the boys to hopefully 3 points and to control their own destiny here in the Jägermeister Cup. What are you looking forward to for this game?
Yeah, I'm hoping that the club puts on something, maybe some pre game festivities, maybe a hot dog hamburger cart for the folks that wanna have some good old fashioned American food, and really hoping for fireworks, primarily because I told my girlfriend that there would be, and that was my compromise to our Fourth of July plans is I get to go watch a soccer game, and the club will have fireworks post game. So I'm hoping that they have the permit to do that, and the ownership group doesn't make me look like a liar um, to my +1 to this game.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they do find a way to get fireworks. I haven't seen anything on social media advertising the fireworks yet. It's all just been 4th of July, barbecue, um, live music, giveaways, all that kind of stuff. But hopefully we can get some sort of fireworks. If not, I mean, just take her home and you can watch them on TV. Or I'm sure within your neighborhood you'll get to see some sort of fireworks.
Yeah, I'm sure
Or
that you can see them from anywhere. I'm sure that the houses out there are going to have something going um, that we'll be able to
oh,
see.
oh yeah. If you don't get fireworks on the pitch, that is.
Yeah, and maybe that they're saving it up for our goal celebrations. They're going to launch a couple fireworks. That would be pretty neat. Hopefully they have enough for the barrage that we're going to put on to the Rowdies on Friday.
Yeah, do you have a overall scoreline prediction for this game?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I like a 2-1 final here. I'm gonna go with Onan scoring relatively early in the first half. Farine tacking on a. I'm sorry, Henderlong tacking on a second one before the end of the first half. We're not gonna concede in the last 15 minutes, and then the Rowdies are gonna push hard, trying to get back into it. They'll find one in the second half, and the full time whistle will go 2-1.
Yeah, I like that. I think I'm gonna go 3-1 Naples. I think we get two in the first half. I think just given how we've been playing, I think we'll give up another one a goal late in the second half, but then to start the or early in the first half, excuse me, and then to start the second half, I think we get another one and make things just then we can just kind of sit back, continue to block them out and take all 3 points, make it 3-1. Um, yeah, that's what I'll go with. 3-1 Naples.
I think that, you should make a commitment to our fans that for every goal that is scored, you will Joey Chestnut a hot dog and down a hot dog within 30 seconds. Um, before, we'll go even better that you have to finish the hot dog before play restarts.
This is when I wish USL League One had VAR because that might buy me some extra time. But I'm willing to commit to that right now and say I will eat a hot dog within 30 seconds for every single goal that we score.
And that'll be something that we can easily live stream on the Instagram page. So make sure you follow us there if you want to see Ian do his best Joey Chestnut impersonation.
Yeah, I'll even say I'll eat a hot dog and drink a beer. I won't do both within 30 seconds, but I'm willing to commit to one beer and one hot dog per goal scored.
I love it. I love it. That's the commitment that you get when you listen to this podcast.
Yeah, very exciting. Very exciting stuff. Paul, anything else before we go?
No, I just think that it's good to remember that the season is long. And we were very optimistic early. And even though our run of play, May, June wasn't great, there's still a lot of time to find the form. to make a push late. And then, what's interesting about this for sure, European soccer is really you just got to get into the playoffs. And once you get in there, anything can happen. And I still put us against any team that we've played in a winner take all game. I would still like our odds.
Yeah, I'm with you. There's still a lot of soccer to be played, lots of time to get things right. And if you want to, like we've said, if you want to have a slide, I think now's the time to do it compared to late on in the season. Making sure our run in here and our form is solid and ready to go come playoff time, assuming we can make the playoffs.
Looking forward to seeing a good crowd Friday. We'll be in the beer garden if you want to come say hello. I'm sure you'll know us when you see us. So come up, come say hi. Let us know what you like about the show, um, what you don't like about the show, and yeah, always open to feedback. Get in touch with the show.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Until then, we will see you on Friday, and until then, up the Naples.